In this problem, we need to find out the value of the given trigonometric expression. Let us begin. First, what we'll do, we'll find out the value of each of the trigonometric ratios. So let's begin with secant of 3 times pi over 2 minus theta. Now we have 3 times pi over 2, meaning 3, which is an odd number, we have an odd multiple of pi over 2. So whenever we have an odd multiple of pi over 2, then secant transforms to cosecant. We'll get cosecant and the new angle will be theta. We'll also have to take care of the sign, which can be only confirmed by checking out or finding out in which quadrant this angle 3 pi over 2 minus theta lies. For that, we will be using the quadrant system. Now, in the first quadrant, we have the angle pi over 2. We're going to go with the anti-clockwise fashion. In the second quadrant, we're going to have 2 pi over 2. And 3 pi over 2 is going to lie in the third quadrant. Now we know that in the third quadrant, we are also subtracting theta from it. Now theta is an acute angle lying between 0 and pi over 2. So it's still going to lie in the third quadrant. So this angle 3 pi over 2 minus theta lies in the third quadrant, where only the tangent and the cotangent are positive. Everything else will be negative. So that means we can say the secant of 3 pi over 2 minus theta corresponds to negative secant theta. Now coming to the next ratio. Now here we have secant of theta minus 5 pi over 2. Secant of theta minus 5 pi over 2. But what we'll do, we're going to rewrite it as by taking negative as the common factor. We have negative of 5 pi over 2 minus theta. The whole reason we are expressing this in this fashion, because we know that secant of negative theta, that's equals to secant theta. That's because secant is an even function. So this is the condition for an even function, which means we can now rewrite our given trigonometric ratio as secant of 5 pi over 2 minus theta. Now here we have is a odd multiple. 5 is an odd number, odd multiple of pi over 2. So secant is going to transform to cosecant. We're going to have cosecant of theta. Now we need to check in which quadrant these angle lie. So we have first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So 5 pi over 2 is going to lie in the first quadrant, and we are also going to subtract theta from it. Theta being an acute angle lying between 0 and pi over 2. So still going to lie in the first quadrant. Now here in the first quadrant, all trigonometric functions are positive, so our value is going to be positive cosecant theta. Now let's come to the next trigonometric ratio. So we have tangent of 5 over pi over 2 plus theta. We have an odd multiple of pi over 2. So tangent is going to transform to cotangent. We're going to have cotangent of theta. So 5 pi over 2. Now it lies in the first quadrant, as we have already talked about it in the previous for secant of 5 pi over 2 minus theta. Now 5 pi over 2 lies in the first quadrant, but then again here we're adding theta to it. So addition is going to take it to the next quadrant, which is the second quadrant. Now in the second quadrant, only the sine and cosecant are positive. Everything else will be negative. So tangent of 5 pi over 2 plus theta corresponds to negative cotangent of theta. And now coming to the fourth one, so we have tangent of theta minus 3 pi over 2. So here also we are going to use the fact that tangent of negative theta, so that's equivalent to negative tangent theta, because tangent is an odd function, meaning our ratio will become negative tangent of 3 pi over 2 minus theta. So here we have as an odd multiple of pi over 2. So we have the tangent changing to cotangent, so we have cotangent of theta. Now we'll also have to look at the overall sign. So 3 pi over 2 means we are lying in the third quadrant, and also we are subtracting theta from it. But that's not going to be any issue here, because theta is lying between 0 and pi over 2. So we are still in the third quadrant where tangent and cotangent are positive. So that means the value is going to be positive, and this corresponds to negative cotangent of theta. So now that we have all the individual values of each of the trigonometric ratios, we're going to substitute this into our given expression to find out its value. So let's do that. Let's plug in the value. Secant of 3 pi over 2 minus theta, so that's negative cosecant of theta, multiplied to secant of theta minus 5 over 2, so that's positive cosecant of theta. Then we have tangent of 5 pi over 2 plus theta, which corresponds to negative cotangent of theta. This will get multiplied to tangent of theta minus 3 pi over 2, which is negative cotangent of theta. So this is going to give us negative cosecant squared theta plus cotangent squared theta. Now, let's take negative as the common factor. So we're going to have cosecant squared theta minus cotangent squared theta. Now, this is a very standard identity with a value of 1. So that means the value is going to be, final value of the given expression, trigonometric expression, is going to be negative 1.